What's going on, everybody? I just wanted to do a video update for contest prep. So currently 26, 28, and 30 weeks out. Already 6 weeks into contest prep for 2017. And my current macros are at 300 gram protein, 200 gram carb, and 100 grams of fat. So roughly 2,900 calories or so. And aiming for about 35 to 45 grams of fiber, doing about a gallon and a half of water easily, and doing about 55 to 6,500 milligrams of sodium each day. So everything's staying consistent. My coaches actually dropped my carbs down to 200. It was 225 before. So now my weight is continually making progress week to week. So, and then we instituted 2 more days of HIIT cardio, so for 10 minutes. So ultimately doing 4 days of HIIT cardio, 10 minutes. And, you know, I have the cardiovascular of a sloth. So those 10 minutes definitely gas me out. But when you're doing HIIT, to do it efficiently, to do it right, you definitely have to put in your max effort every time you're doing those intervals, so that way you're actually capitalizing what you're doing. So right now I've been just really aiming for the Stairmaster, the stair climber, and the treadmill. So either doing some inclines or dead mill, where you basically are manually pushing almost like a sled of the treadmill, and basically just doing 20-second intervals with 60-second recoveries. So roughly getting about 7 intervals in within that period of time. So I really do try to push it each time that I'm in the doing intervals, just because I know the importance, because I'm only doing 10 minutes worth. I better be exerting a lot of force and intensity while I'm doing it. So currently I'm doing my training sessions in the afternoon. So in my previous videos I shared why I have to do that, just because my new work schedule, my new job, I work from 7 to 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So it's just easier for me to train in the evenings now, versus when I had the schedule where I started at 9 o'clock, I could go in and get my workout in early. So 2 things have definitely sprung from training in the later part of the day, is that I have more fuel in me. So it's just really exciting to have a lot more food in me before I even go and train in the late afternoon. Plus my rest, my sleep has definitely improved as well. So I'm getting roughly 7.5 hours each night of sleep, where sometimes it was really hard to at least get like 6.5 or 7. When I was training at 2:42 in the morning, I'd wake up, have my pre-workout, go to the gym by 3 o'clock, and you know, that was a wrap. So I really don't know what would have happened if I started prep with not transitioning over to late afternoons. I don't know, but I do know that my strength has improved. My ability to sustain strength has been awesome since making that transition. Almost like a godsend that I've been able to work out in the later part of the day. The only drawback is that by the time I'm out of the gym, when I'm there like 4 o'clock, I don't get out until like after 6, sometimes 7:30, just because my workouts are taking about 2.5 to 3.5 hours depending on what I'm doing. Luckily I'm only in the gym 4 days out of the week right now, so I'm doing my cardio on my strength days, my lifting days, so that way I have full day recoveries, where I'm not like always training. So it's very taxing for the body to do HIIT, so I just go ahead and do it right after I'm done with my training session. So 10 minutes doesn't seem like it's going to be detrimental if I do it right after. I'm still able to put in a good amount of effort into my cardio. So that's where I'm currently at with training. Food wise, I have to be a little bit more creative, because now that I only have 200 grams of carbs, this far out, I definitely have to maximize when I'm positioning those carbohydrates, especially when I'm training. So it's very important for me to institute how much carbs am I having, an hour and a half, 2 hours before I go to the gym, and then what do I do with a good amount of my carbs after I go to the gym. So that's where I space them out, is that I roughly get around 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates about an hour and a half before the gym. I also get in about 45 grams of protein in, and then intra workout, I get some Sour Patch Kids, roughly about half to a 3/4 serving, just so it pushes me through the rest of my workout, especially main lift day. And then for dinner, I typically have a good amount of carbohydrates in there. Roughly try to get about 45-50 grams, and then I get a good amount of protein, so roughly like 40, another 50 grams of protein in post-workout. So I know a lot of people will say like research doesn't really back up nutrient timing or meal timing when you should have it. Ultimately comes in for calories in versus calories out. But for me personally, I've noticed a tremendous difference in how I structure and where I position my food, especially as it gets lower and lower in contest prep, is that the more that I know that I have fuel in the tank, I'm able to train more efficiently. Performance doesn't necessarily go plummeting down if I'm just eating all my carbs way early in the morning and training late in the afternoon, or having all my carbs after I go work out and where I don't have fuel in the tank. So that's my take on it. To be honest with you, it's really helped me in how I position it, especially just having 200 grams of carbs. It really isn't that much. It adds up really quickly. So being able to still institute a good amount of like whole foods in there, just so that I can have volume. But 2,900 calories still seems like a lot just because the fat grams are so high. My hunger, I get that occasionally, that I am hungry. It's only because that sometimes I'm not able to eat when I'm supposed to be eating, just because I get caught up at work, caught up in my schedule. So that's the only reason why I'm kind of hungry. And then as far as recipes, so I will say that I've had to, I'm a creature of habit. I tend to make the same types of foods. So when I post foods on like Instagram, Facebook, like social media in general, when I find something that I really like, so I did one on like burrito bows just because a lot of my friends were rocking those out. So I wanted to see how I do it to make it fit my macros for my prep, just because I tend to eat the same things. Because once I find something that works, I kind of just stick with it. I try not to deviate too much, just because there's too much math involved and I gotta like think too much. And I like consistency, and it makes food prep a lot easier for me, just because my work schedule is different for me now. I need to be able to have go-to foods, quick and easy ones that I can just put in my Fitness Pal, rock it out. I know what I'm getting. And occasionally, maybe on the weekends when I'm not working, I can kind of shift over and do something different, and that's where I can experiment for the upcoming week. So a lot of people do ask me like, what do you think my weight's gonna be when I step on stage, when I finally get down to being ready to step on stage maybe. And I just don't know what to tell people, just because it's been 18 months away from the stage. I think if I wasn't taking that time of away from the stage, I could probably give people a rough estimate on where I would be, just because, to give you some perspective, back in 2012 when I competed, I was like 145 pounds, and I obviously, the first time you prep for a show, I only did it for 12 weeks, and I went from like 165 down to like 145. So 20 pounds in 12 weeks. I did it all the wrong ways. I did tons of cardio, I like up to 2 hours, and I just I just was running myself into the ground. So I probably lost a lot of muscle in that process of getting down to 145. 2013, I went up to about 152, 153, and I fell short of becoming lean enough for my first show. My second show, like a few weeks later, I was able to tighten up really well. But it was like 152, 153, but still I didn't find my flow of what really worked for me until 2014 is when I really embraced like flexible dieting and really found my stride with what worked for me personally. So that's when I brought in a really good package to the stage, June of 2014. And then 2015 is when I brought my best physique to date, April, and I was 147.8 pounds the day before we did weigh-ins. So not exactly sure what I weighed in after I carved up, but 147.8. And so it gives you perspective that, from when I started, 145, 2012, and then 147.8, I look totally different from what I started at. So I really can't tell what I'm going to be at because I haven't been this weight for a very long time. So when I got married back in 2007, I was close to 200 pounds, but I did not look like this. I was eating out all the time. There was no such thing as macros. I was eating fast food all the time. So I just don't know what will happen in these next 26 weeks, 28 weeks, and 30 weeks of where my weight's gonna be. I do know though, I've made significant progress with the way that I'm training. So using, been working with Rab Fitness, Roger and Allie Baker, great coaches, very good support system, on top of the game when it comes down to training, prepping people. So I'm very excited to be working with them. Now going into my contest prep and just seeing the progress that I made with them with my building phase. My physique is definitely in probably one of the best places that it has been for a very long time. So I don't know. I'm always hopeful that, hey, maybe I can compete in the under 165 class and even down into the bantam weights under 154 and a quarter, like 3/4. But we'll see. I just don't know. As the weight is kind of coming down and as I start leaning out, I might be able to give a better picture of what I'll be at. But I could care less, to be honest with you, with what weight I am, as long as I am conditioned and that I am bringing in something that is completely different from when I stepped off stage April 2015. But with the help of Roger and Allie, I know that I'm going to be in a better place than I was back in that April 2015. But other than that, that's basically it. Right now we're packing up all our stuff. We've been moving things to storage. We're hopefully getting into our new place by Monday, closing with our condo in Puyallup, Washington. So hopefully that goes down really nicely because these last couple months have been kind of chaotic and crazy, and we're just we're living on the bare essentials right now. So hitting macros isn't hard, but it's definitely something that I have to pay more attention to because we're kind of living off of the bare minimum of things right now just because we've packed away everything. So our whole kitchen is packed up. It's just that we have a couple frying pans, a couple utensils, and just kind of waiting to move into our new place. But other than that, everything's going well. Thanks for checking in. Have a good one.